It's tax season, and at LifeLock, we know you're tired of numbers. But here's a big one you need to hear. Billions. That's the amount of money in refunds the IRS has flagged for possible identity fraud. Now here's another big number. 100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed. One last big number. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast for the threats you can't control. Terms apply.
Today's episode is a segment from our upcoming RPO Symposium. Here's something that every coach knows, that RPOs are easy to like on the whiteboard, but they're a lot harder to build into something that your players can actually execute on Friday night. Tim Souza, offensive coordinator at Southern Oregon, presents a valuable clip here. He doesn't just talk about RPO ideas. He talks about how to teach them, structure them, and build a system where your players can actually own it. This is just a preview of what you'll get inside the Coaching Coordinator Network Smart Clinics, our first being the RPO Symposium, which is coming up March 17th through 19th. Smart Clinics are built differently. It's one topic, taught with depth, fewer voices, longer sessions, clear progressions, and coaching points you can actually install. The RPO Symposium includes 15 on-demand sessions, plus 3 live interactive nights featuring Joe Moorhead, a coach's roundtable, and a live workshop built around real problems defenses create when they change fits, rotate late, and take away your throws. If you want to build an RPO package that holds up week to week, not just in cut-ups, get your ticket now. The video version of this with Coach Souza's slides is on Spotify. Here's Coach Souza.
Back again with part 2 of the RPO Blueprint 3-part series. The first session we talked about our evolution and our journey, and quite frankly, those cut-ups and those clips, those concepts really are nothing but a collection of plays if you don't have a system and a structure to teach them. So if we're thinking about creating a system, creating a framework to teach, that's the most important piece we can do as coaches, because at the end of the day, in my opinion, coaching is the highest form of teaching. And a lot of my experience in the classroom as a public educator for over 10 years is really what drove the systemization of this process and how we approach the teaching, because that's the most important thing that we can do. So I'm excited to jump into our teaching framework for an RPO system today. Again, if we're going to hunt advantages, if we are going to hunt advantages, we have to equip our players with the why behind what we're doing. And that teaching progression that I touched on in the first session about how we teach, that cascading 3-pronged approach has to start with why. We have to start with why, so we have the full brain power of our players when we're telling them what and how we are going to do things. But when they understand the why, they know the mission. And then it makes the what very clear. And like we talked about last time, the how is what really separates you. A lot of people are doing a lot of the same things. How you do it, and for the purposes of this presentation, how you teach it is what separates you. When we look at how we teach, this isn't something that I came up with on my own, and I don't believe that I'm frankly smart enough to be able to come up with these 7 things on my own. This is pure Sabanism, Nick Saban tree teaching progression. And I believe that the most important thing that we can aim to do is reach all of the learners in our meeting rooms. Just like in a classroom, you're going to have different learning styles in the seats of your class. Well, we've got different learning styles in the seats of our meeting rooms, behind the face masks of all the helmets of our players. We've got to make sure that we're reaching every learning type. And so it's important to us as we go through our teaching process here at SOU that we teach in these 7 manners, in these 7 steps, in this order. So the first time we're going to show our players something new is going to be on paper. They're going to have paper in their notebook that's going to have an image that is going to match the image on the screen. And most of the time, the image on the screen that we're presenting is going to have pieces that they need to fill in that are missing from their paper in their notebook. So they're not just in a sit it and get it kind of classroom. They're actually involved and taking ownership in their learning. But this lifeless, motionless picture on a piece of paper is going to help them know and understand the playing concept. Then immediately after we show them a picture, we're going to show them a video clip of exactly how it should look when we do it. And this helps create a mental model in their mind, a movie in their mind of if they close their eyes and imagine themselves doing it, this is exactly how it's going to look. And then when we go out to practice, pre-practice, we are going to walk through and teach, and we're going to slow things down, and we're going to make sure that we make time to ask and answer questions, but we need to be incredibly focused. And something else that I'm very particular about in our walkthroughs is during walkthrough, our bodies should look like a perfect duplicate of a game rep, just slowed down. So we're looking for the same eyes, the same intent, the same levers, the same angles. Like we are trying to create a slowed down copy of a game rep. So the signals that our brain is sending our body are as similar as possible to the ones we're going to need when we're 11 on 11. Then when we go to individual periods, we want to make sure that the indie feeds the install. So if we are working on mid-zone run concepts up front, we're not going to have individual drills that are full of open pull and pull to kick like we're running counter or a long trap. We need to make sure that the indie feeds the install. After indie, when we work on it in our position groups, we can now go into competitive periods, group periods that are against the defense, but not yet 11 on 11. So as we move through practice, we're adding in complexity, we're adding in chaos, and we're doing it in a progressive manner. Now, the sixth time that we do or show something is going to be when we finally get to 11 on 11. And even if we've never done something before, if we've done it 5 times at least in 5 different ways, had 5 different exposures to this new thing, we're starting to feel comfortable and starting to feel confident with it. And let's be honest, confidence feeds execution. And I think the most important step is this 7th step after practice when we go in after practice and upload the film, and we as coaches watch it and put our correction notes into our columns in huddle, and our players watch the film on their own before they come to meetings. This is something that we stress, that they watch it on their own and see the notes and have questions prepared and ready for the next meeting. And then when we watch the cut up in the meeting room with our players, we can now take the video of them at practice and this video right here in step 7. How does this video compare to this video that we showed in step 2? And that right there is where we can really dive into, if you don't look like the teach tape video, here comes our favorite question again. Why? And what do we need to do differently so you do look like the teach tape video, and how we're going to go about fixing it? Well, that's going to be our individual periods at the next practice. So let's talk about our quarterback pre-snap process when it comes to the RPO game. It's really important that we equip them with why. We talk about if a player knows why we're doing something, then they also create enough ownership and understanding and mastery of that concept to know what the problems are. Because if our quarterback doesn't know why we run RPOs, being that we're trying to protect our runs, they very quickly turn into PROs and we're just trying to sling the football around the yard, when that's not the intent. So they need to know why that we want to run the football. They want to know why we want to segment the defense and what those segments are and how they should process and progress through the segments of pre-snap access and the run unit and the post-snap read player and route concept. They need to know why we want to spread touches to our playmakers. We want to know why extra hats are a threat to the run and who we're putting in conflict and why late fitters and bad angles are good for our run game. And again, they need to understand that the why behind everything we do is to put them in a position to be as successful as possible. So we're looking to equip and empower our players. And the only way we can do that is if they know the why behind what we do. So as we go through this process, we talk about nerves, breath, and the brain. Well, if we know that we can ultimately control our brain through our breath, that's why we tether these snaps each to a breath in the pre-snap process. So the first step in breath is about checking access. Do we have a free gift? Can we just stand up and take some free money? If so, snap the ball and go take it. Second step is to see the structure. What's the top contour all the way down to the field overhang? The third step in breath is counting the box. How many people do we have blocking for the run? How many people are in the box? This gives us a good pre-snap idea that we can then confirm post-snap. Then we need to find the read. If we've got good numbers in the box, where can the defense gain an extra hat that will cause us a problem in the run that we could potentially need to fix? And then we're looking to win. At the end of the day, we want to win and attack numbers, we want to attack leverage, and we want to attack grass. If we have any of those three things, we need to attack them. And that could be in the box by giving the run. And that could be on the perimeter in the second or third level by attacking space that the defense drained out a defender from to get an extra hat to the fit. And we also need to teach them that, you know what, we understand that sometimes we're going to pull the ball in the RPO game and it's going to be muddy. And we're going to pull the ball and say, oh, shoot, like this is not a good look to the throw. What now? And so we need to equip them with tools to even get beyond and overcome a bad pull and throw. And for us, that is tucking the ball and following the running back. The running back knows that if we pull the ball, he needs to go what we call from ball to backer, and he just becomes an extra blocker in the run unit. And the quarterback needs to understand we're already blocking a run play. So if you pull the ball and it's a bad look to throw, we just end up getting to +1 football on the run. And we need to equip him with the tools in his process to know what comes next, even if we make a bad pull and don't like the throw. There's a great look at it here.
That was Coach Tim Souza, and that clip was just a small look at what you'll get inside the Coaching Coordinator Network Smart Clinics, the RPO Symposium. If you want the full Tim Souza series, plus on-demand sessions from a strong lineup of coaches, and 3 live interactive nights built around real defensive problems, get your ticket now. The symposium runs March 17th through the 19th and is designed to give you answers that you can use with your team. Get your ticket now and join us for the RPO Symposium. The link is in the show notes. Thank you for listening, and follow everything we're doing at coachandcoordinator.com.